To download a free printable PDF version of this pattern, click the links on the screen now, in the description below, or visit louisloops.com. Hey guys, I'm Louis from Louis Loops, and in this video I'm going to be teaching you how to make a little miniature bat. And here's another example of that. But quick before I do so, this is just one of the many patterns in my new pattern bundle for a bunch of different Halloween patterns. So if you guys want to check that out, click the link on the screen now. There should be another one in the description. And yeah, there's like a vampire, Frankenstein, witch, zombie, werewolf. There's a pumpkin, but this is going to be free by the end of the month. And then there's a skull, and then obviously the bat. Yeah, if you click the link, it should just open a new window. But yeah, let's just I'm gonna move these over and let's get started. Okay, so for this pattern, you're going to need, I use a worsted weight yarn. Today I'm using, I think this is Line Brand Cottonies in purple. I'm using a size G crochet hook, and you'll need some scissors, and then you'll also need some beads for eyes. You can also use bullion knots for eyes, and I'll add a link when the eyes come up for how to make those different kind of systems. For these beads, they normally come in black, but I painted them with yellow using just a simple varnish. You can also use just nail polish, totally works. So yeah, let's move this out of the way and let's get started. So to start off, we're gonna be making the ears and the wings first before we even do the body, because they're the kind of the tough parts, or they're the tough parts, and you need to sew them onto the body. So you probably want to make them first. So let's just start off by making the ears. They're really easy. So to make the ears, you're gonna need to grab your yarn, obviously, and make a slip knot. We'll grab our crochet hook here. And these are really easy. Leave a decently long tail for the for sewing it on to the piece, but all you have to do for the ears is chain 2. And then I kind of pull the last chain a little bit tighter. And then you turn it to the back, and on the back there's kind of back loops to chain stitches. So you want to go into this back loop here on this chain stitch. It's kind of hard to get in. You gotta like use your fingernail to get it over. And you just want to single crochet 1 in that one, like so. And then all you do is you just cut it, and then do a chain to pull through, like that. And that makes the ears. You're gonna need to make 2 of these. And then we'll sew them onto the head after a little bit. Okay, so now let's make the wings. And you're doing basically the same thing. You're making a slip knot. And this time we chain 8. So chain 8, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And we're going to be working these back loops also. Again, so into the first one from the hook, so there's our very first chain. We want to go into this, or sorry, the second one from the hook right here. We want to make a slip stitch. So we just do a slip stitch in the first one, and then into the next 2 back loops, we want to do a single crochet 2 together. So how we do that is we're going to go into our next loop here, and you pull a loop through, okay? Then you go into our next loop, or next chain, and remember we're working the back loops. And then pull another loop through, and then finally pull a loop through all of those. And that's a single crochet 2 together. So now we're going to make a what I call a mini peacock. Now, there's a lot of different names for this. I don't know what it's supposed to be called though. So I just call it a mini peacock because it's like a tiny version of a peacock. So all you have to do is you chain 2, 1, 2, and you pull the second chain a little bit tighter to make it sharp. And then we're going to go into the second to the loop, second loop from the hook right here. Sorry, it gets a little blurry by there. And we're going to make a slip stitch. And that'll make kind of like a little like point. So next we're going to single crochet into the next back loop right here. And then we'll do another single crochet 2 together. So remember, that's pull 1 loop through, go into the next, pull another loop through, and then loop through all of those. And then another mini peacock, chain 2, go into the first one right here, and make a slip stitch. And then finally finish up by doing a single crochet in the last back loop right here. And that's how we're going to make our wing. We'll finish by cutting a decently long end, not too long, and making a chain and pulling it all the way through. And that'll make our wings. And you're going to, again, make 2 of these for sewing on each side of the bat. So when we get back, we'll make the body, and we'll get the wings on, and yeah, we'll get going. Okay, so next up we're going to be making the body. So we've made 2 ears, don't forget about that, and 2 wings. And the reason I say that to make those first is because we're going to be needing to make this body, and we're going to have to add them while we're making the body. So yeah, you want to have these done before. So let's just start off. We're going to need to grab our yarn. And you can use a magic hoop method here. I'm not gonna, just because I think it's easier to show when you don't. I'm gonna make a slip stitch and do a chain 2. And in the second chain from the hook, we're gonna single crochet 6. So into this one right here, we're gonna single crochet 6. Now again, you can use the magic hoop method here if you wanted to. It makes a lot tighter of a start, but personally I think it's easier just to do a chain 2, and it's way easier to show you guys. So we finished our first round of just 6 single crochets around, and then in the next round we're going to do 2 single crochets in each. So we're doing an increase in each stitch around. So if we go into this first one, it sometimes can be tough to get into the first stitch. Sometimes you can just go into like the back loop of the first stitch, but I like just going into the main loop here. And we single crochet 2 into that. Okay, then we want to go to our next stitch right here. Go into it and single crochet 2 into that stitch. And you want to continue this process all the way around until we have 12 stitches. In 5 and 6, which is the next one here, I like to pull the tail. If you do a chain 2 method, I like to pull the tail and single crochet around the tail. It kind of closes up this hole a little bit. You can close up the hole, and then I just crochet around it for a little bit just to keep it locked in. So that's 7, 8, 9, and 10, and then 11, 12. So that's round 2. Now for round 3, we're going to be single crocheting 1 in the first, easy, and then increasing, or sorry, we single crochet 1 in the first 3. 1, 2, and 3. There we go, that looks a little bit better. And then we increase in the next stitch right here. So 1 and 2. And we repeat that process 3 times total, because we want to get 15 stitches. So we have 12 around in the circle, and by doing 3 more increases, we'll get to 15. So again, we do 3 single crochets, 1, 2, and 3. And then an increase in this stitch. 1 and 2. Okay, and one more time you do that. 1, 2, and 3 single crochets, and then an increase. Okay, and that'll finish up round 3. You can see we're kind of getting like straight down from there. Now round 4, we're going to be single crocheting 1 into each stitch all the way around. Really easy. This is the same for round 4 and 5 and 6. So for 3 rounds, we're just going to be single crocheting 1 into each, and you can either use a little marker to know where the end is, or count. So right now we just finished 5, 6, 7, 8. And yeah, so it's really easy. We're just single crocheting in each stitch all the way around. I'm going to fast forward till I get to I finish round 5. I want to finish round 5. So we're doing 2 rounds of just single crocheting into each stitch all the way around. Okay, so we finished the next 2 rounds. We just finished round 5. I cut the inside a little bit because it was kind of bothering me. Now we want to add eyes. And again, I use little beads for these eyes, and I painted these eyes yellow using basically nail polish. I use varnish paint, but you can use nail polish. It's kind of cool. You can paint them any color you want. So these ones are white, and we're gonna do yellow for this character. So first off, we want to find out where we want the eyes. You want to put them 1 round up, so like basically just in this round up, and just choose a place for the first one. First we need to just decide where we want our first one. So I'm just going to start with right there. Now we're going to go 4 stitches over to place the other one. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And then place the other one 4 stitches over. And you can use bullion knots for this too. I have a video for how to make eyes. So if you want to snap over to that, I'll add a link on the screen right now or in the description below, and you can just go watch that for how to make bullion knots for eyes instead. I like these beads a lot more. I think they look really cool. I just started using them kind of recently, and I think they look pretty neat. So we have where we want the 2. Now we just have to lock them in. And when you buy these eyes, they come with like these little kind of like lock things, and you just put on the inside and you just snap them in. So we do that. Okay, and you can probably get away with doing 1 more round before you do this too. It might make things easier to crochet around, but yeah. So there we go. The eyes are in. Now we just need to add the ears. So let's grab our ears here, and we'll grab our needle. And how we make the ears is, first off, we got to find out where we want to put them. I like to put them well, let's see. It depends on where you make the eyes, but if you count from the left eye up 1 and then up 1 more, but over to the left, that's where I like to put the top of the left ear. So let's go ahead and do that first. So we thread our crochet, or thread the end of our ear on our crochet hook, and we'll do that count. So we count 1 up and then 1 over for right here, and that's where the one side of the ear goes. And you kind of pull it in enough where it goes, kind of like snaps in there. Okay, so we have our one side in. Now we want to thread the other side of our ear. Keep losing it. Thread it in the needle. And I like to go just 1 like down to the left right here. You can see it on this. So if you go straight down and then to the left one, it'll make it look like kind of ears back a little bit. It doesn't really matter where you put these. on the head as long as you like where they go, but just know that you want them to look similar. So you want both sides to look pretty good together. So we go ahead and tie it. We double knot it on the inside. And then we'll cut it loose. Okay. And then we'll add our other ear to the other side. So let's go ahead and thread the ear. It doesn't matter which way the ear goes on, really. It all looks the same, kind of. But if you want to make sure, you can make them all both look forwards or whatever. Okay, so on this one, let's see where we put it. We go 1 stitch, 2 stitch up and to the right instead, because just the way the increases work, that you need to go a little bit higher. So we went 1, 2 and to the right here. Okay. And then we want to thread our second half. And go a stitch down right here. And again, this is all depends on where you want the ear. Like, that's what it looks like on this one where we put it, but personally, I don't really like that spot. I don't want the top half there. So that just goes to show it depends on how tightly you make these. Depends on where you want where we want to put our ears. So let's do it more like that. Yeah, I like that a little bit more. And pull the knots. So if you pull the knots kind of tight right here, they can like pop on in to the stitch. So if on the inside you can see, and you pull it enough, and don't break it. Don't like pull it so hard that the stitch breaks, but you can see it like kind of like popped in there. I don't know if you can tell, but it did. You'll see when we show the outside, and we double knot it. Yarn is really forgiving, so even like if you pull it inside out like we did, it still looks pretty good when we pop it back out. See? So there we go, we got our ears. There we go. Now we're gonna do round 6, I think it is. It's just 1 single crochet in each stitch around. Pretty easy, you guys know the drill. You just single crocheting in each stitch around. And I'm gonna go ahead and fast forward to the end of this. And when we get back, we'll add our wings. Okay, so we finished round 6 here. We just did 1 single crochet all the way around. Now we want to add our wings. So let's grab them. And the wings are easier to find a good spot than it is for the ears. All you have to do, so let's thread the top of our wing first. So if you look at our wing, here, let's grab the other one, I'll show you. If you look at our wing, this is the way we want to sew it on, right? So this is the top and this is the bottom. So we want to thread our top bit first. So we got our top threaded. And now this is the same for each side. I count over 2 stitches from where I put the eyes. So we count 1 stitch, 2 stitches over. And thread the bottom. And I just go a stitch straight down from there. So right here. And pull it kind of tight for both of them. And then we double knot it. Okay. We cut it on the inside. There we go. And we do the same for the other side. So I'm just going to show you where I'm going to put it on the other side and fast forward because we're cutting into time here. So again, we count 2 stitches over. So 1, 2, we go in here, and then our bottom will go right there. Okay. Okay, so now we're going to do, I believe it's round 7. We're going to be single crocheting 1 in the first 3. So 1, 2, and 3. And then we're going to do something called an invisible decrease. You can just do a normal decrease if you want, but I like invisible decrease because you really can't even see it. So this is what it is. You go into the top loop right here. So if you look at the single crochets, they have, sorry, I called it a top loop. It's not what it's called. If you look at single crochets, they have 2, like kind of a V. And so there's the front loop and then the back loop. The front loop is the one closest to us. So what we do is we stick our crochet hook into the front loop here. Okay. Then we go and stick our crochet hook again with keeping this loop on. We go into the next front loop as well. And we pull a loop through both of those. And then we pull another loop through those. We do like a single crochet there. And it makes what's called invisible decrease, and it really is invisible. You cannot see it. And we'll go ahead and single crochet in the next 3. We want to repeat that process 3 times total. We're going from 15 to 12 here. So we'll do 1, 2, and 3. And let's do that invisible decrease one more time. Okay, so we go into this front loop. And then we go ahead and go into the next front loop. Okay. Oop. You gotta be careful that you don't get into both loops there. Let's try it again. 1 front loop. It's a little blurry on the screen. There we go. Okay, so we're in both front loops. You can kind of see it like puts them on this crochet hook. And then we just do a single crochet. And then single crochet 3. 1, 2, and 3, and then finish up by doing one more invisible decrease here. Okay, and then before we finish up our guy and sew it together and stuff it, I'm going to show you guys how to add a mouth. So let's do that. So when we add a mouth, we want to grab I'm going to use yellow yarn because I like to make it match the eyes. And I'll show you guys where we embroider it on. It's pretty easy, so this is what it's going to look like. Kind of like a cat mouth, little things. So you want to go a stitch below our eye right here. Pull it through. Okay. Then we want to go just 1 stitch down. And then come back out in between this stitch. So in stitches there's like holes right here and here, but we want to come from in between that, right there. So I'll show you guys what I mean. So we go through this, we want to come back out right there. See how I'm like in between the two? Come up. Oops. And then go back through our hole where we first went in, and then back up through the middle again. Okay. Then we want to go down to right under it, right here. Okay. We want to go up through the stitch right above it, like that. It's almost done. Finally finish up by going straight down through where we just went through. And that'll make like kind of a cute little mouth. And we will Oops. There we go. Double knotted on the inside here. Okay. And cut it. There we go. And now we can finish up our bat by closing it up and stuffing it and sewing it shut. Now, I'll show you guys how to do that. I have a video for it, but I'll just show you. Okay, so we want to do a decrease in each stitch. Now, a decrease is different than this invisible decrease, and I think it's kind of easier. So basically what we do is we're going to go into our next loop like we're going to do a single crochet and pull a loop through. And then we want to go into the loop next to that. Kind of like we were doing a single crochet 2 together, but that's not what we're doing. Pull that loop through. And then we want to pull a loop, like, see how we have one loop through the next one, then that one. We want to pull this loop through both of these stitches right there, like that. And you want to repeat that 6 times total, so that's 1. So we go and pull a loop through, go into the next loop, or next stitch, and then pull that loop through both. That's 2, 3. You want to keep repeating this. And it gets kind of like tough at the end here because you can't get your finger in the piece. So what I do is I just pinch it closed and then do it that way. We only got a couple more. All right, this should be the last one. Okay, so now I'll show you guys how to, what we want to do is we want to cut it, leaving a decently long end. This might be even too long, but that's okay. And we just straight up pull it through. We don't do a chain and pull through, we just pull it straight through after making that last decrease. And we want to grab a pencil. You can use like stuffing stick too, and you can use spare yarn, but I'm going to be using stuffing to actually stuff it shut. And you can get this stuffing just at any like Joann's or online, or you can just use the spare yarn from our piece. Okay, but we're going to use stuffing. So go ahead and put our pencil in our piece and kind of, there we go, open it up. And we put our stuffing right above it, and we kind of do like a, not like straight poking it in, we kind of like do a, like a scoop in. And pencils are great because the eraser kind of like holds onto the yarn, or onto the stuffing rather. And it depends, it's up to you guys how much you guys want to stuff it. I'm going to put a little bit more in. You don't need it like really firm, but you can if you want to. Yeah, so we got it stuffed. Now we'll go ahead and, you know what, I'm going to add even a little bit more stuffing. There we go. All right, and we'll go ahead and grab our needle, thread the end of our piece here, and now we're going to sew it shut. So we have a needle threaded. We want to count over 3 stitches. So here's our first one right here. So it's 1, 2, 3. We want to go into the back loop, or into the top of that third one like that. Then we want to go into, not our first one over, but the same stitch that we started in, like so, and pull it through. And don't pull it too tight yet. Oops. Next we want to go over one more stitch, through the bottom, and then over to the next one. So we're kind of doing like a zigzaggy kind of thing. And before we pull this one all the way through, we want to pull this tight. And then pull it in. Now we want to go one stitch over, and again go across to the next stitch, and you can pull this tight again, and then finally you just want to go into the last stitch straight down through here. It's kind of hard to tell, but you can really just put it wherever you want. Now what I do is I just go right into my piece like so and pull it tight. Okay, and then I go back into the same hole and then straight down. Pull it tight and we can cut it. And I could even stuffed it a little bit more because it's a little bit weak on the inside, but that's okay. Now we have our bat done. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me pull out all my little characters. Please, please, please click the link on the screen now to check out my book of patterns. I spent a lot of time. There's videos for each one of these patterns. We got a witch, we got a vampire, a zombie. I think the zombie's my favorite. I like its little eye and mouth and stuff. A Frankenstein. I really like the Frankenstein too. I like how I made its head. Teach you how to make a flat head. And a werewolf. And then the free patterns are, you can check out this. I'll leave a link at the end to get this pattern for a skull. This is a free pattern. It's probably the most difficult free pattern I have. And then finally there is a pumpkin. Now this pumpkin is going to be free at the end of the month, but you can get it right now by being a Patreon. So I'll add another link at the end to become a Patreon supporter, which means, well, I'll explain it there. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. Please check out my my patterns, or my book of patterns, and hit that subscribe button. Thanks for watching, guys. Leave a like if you like it, and okay, I'll stop talking. Bye.